guys, welcome to the show. My name is Spencer, and I will be your unmasked host for today's episode of Expat Soup.
It was you all along.
Yes. Scooby-Doo fans, where are you?
I've thrown him every time I get you.
This could be an ongoing bit. All right, so you're watching us now on YouTube.
You're broken. I broke you.
We're coming to you live from Jimmy V's in Yangzhou, China. And I'm sitting here with the homie Lee.
Hey.
And the homie Lee is a host and also a guest. He's a guest host or host guest. What is your name?
Lee.
Okay. And today we're it's kind of going to go in line with all of our other COVID-19 topics, quarantine, etc. But today, depending on when we release this video, there's going to be some others about it. This might be the first one, so I messed that up. But we're going to leave this in there so you guys know the process, the pain, the struggle of
editing a video.
making a podcast in your living room.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we're going to talk about COVID-19, the coronavirus, the Wuhan virus, the China virus. Context is key when you call it the Wuhan virus. Or intent, you know?
Yeah.
It's like any other kind of incendiary word. Intent is where it's at. If you say, goddamn Wuhan virus...
Or
fucking
China
Chinese
well,
people, that might be a little no. But if you say the virus that started in Wuhan,
yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Because that's just factual.
that's where it started.
But
So it is a real virus.
For historic context, though, like other viruses have never been really mentioned, maybe exception of the Spanish flu, but other places don't.
Ebola, right?
Ebola is Ebola a place?
I think so. There's a few that are named after places. Sure.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. But like SARS was swine flu wasn't. Like swine flu famously started, I think, California.
Yeah, but
SARS was also China, but not
yeah.
China virus.
It
right?
wasn't the
SARS.
Shanghai
Exactly.
SARS.
Yeah.
Some are based off names.
Bird flu.
Some are
There's
not.
another one. Like bird flu's not a place, right? Mad cow disease, not a place.
Avian flu, please.
Sorry.
So let's start off talking. We're talking about the virus. It's real.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a real virus.
Yeah. The statistics at the moment showing that.
And where did you go to medical school?
I went to we're not professional.
Google you.
It's as useful.
I'm gonna Google you.
No, like anything we say here now, if there is facts to prove us wrong, then I think we were both man enough to admit that we're wrong about what we're saying. But
No.
we're not purposely trying to spread misinformation as well.
And we're not gonna get so deep anyway.
Yeah, of course.
It's more of
we're
a
not that deep.
Right. It's more of just a talk about the virus and kind of maybe a little bit of our.
I think it's more of a cultural understanding than a scientific understanding. People need to wake up to realize what's happening instead of learning about viruses in general.
Mm-hmm. So it started in maybe December.
Late December.
In
Last year.
Wuhan.
Yeah, 2019.
The source of it is still kind of not totally locked it down. Some people say it was the food market.
There's
wet
also
market.
misinformation in China about this as well. Some people are trying to spread conspiracies that it came from America to China first to spread, and then maybe maliciously, maybe not maliciously. But also the most common theory is that someone ate some kind of wild animal. The bat is the one is the most famously known, but there's also a few other animals that have been speculated because SARS started in a very similar way.
And
the issue is
if it did come from the wet market, it's very believable. It did, not
because
saying it did, but
what happens with these markets, these food markets, they catch these wild animals and they spend like hours and hours and hours in these small cages with thousands and thousands of other wild animals. And any
it's
of them...
a literal breeding ground. for bacteria and disease.
Yeah, for bacteria and disease. It's not a breeding ground. That's the thing. If animals are bred, they usually don't have these viruses that are so deadly. It's the wild animals that do spread these things, and that's where the big issue is. And China has recently changed their laws about eating
just
wild
as
animals.
of today or yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, I think
They
nationwide,
said no more wild animals.
just zero.
And when,
wild animals.
to be fair, when China does implement a new law or something of that nature, it goes into effect quickly and harshly.
It's a crackdown. Everything is forced quickly.
So that's good news on the wild animal eating front.
Yeah. They should have maybe learned the lesson with the SARS outbreak, though, because it was exactly the same kind of situation that brought it out.
Right. Basically, a virus jumped from an animal to a human.
Yes.
And the humans, we can't deal with it. Obviously, it's spreading much quicker than the flu or SARS or.
It's very contagious. From what studies are showing, that you can catch it within just seconds of being around someone who has it, and you can have it and not know you have it, which is the biggest problem of this. Like a lot of flus and viruses, if you're not systematic, it's also not contagious at that point. If you don't show signs, people can't catch it. But with this virus, you can give it to others even if you're not showing signs, which is why it's spreading so quickly and so violently in some places. I think a lot of facts are showing that within 3 days, whatever number of cases you have will be doubled within 3 days.
And that was the scary part of when it first broke out here. Every day you'd look at the news and it's just getting higher and higher and higher and higher. And
then there was one day that it jumped so high as well,
totally scary stuff. And then finally it peaked. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think it peaked, and then it kind of slowly petered out, and I think they've even closed down some Wuhan hospitals, emergency hospitals.
The biggest problem that people have is when you look at these cases, they're old numbers, basically, because the virus incubates in you for 2 weeks, right? You can't see the effects for 2 weeks. You can still test and find positive and negative results, but if you don't know someone has it, you won't know for 2 weeks if they do. So the numbers of cases are basically people that caught it 2 weeks ago. Well, around 2 weeks ago. It's not an exact.
And I think it took a lot of people or societies as a whole, it took them seeing that somebody famous got it until they finally took it seriously. I think Tom Hanks was the first.
Tom Hanks.
But when you see Tom Hanks can get it, it's oh, this is real.
And the problem is Tom Hanks is in Australia, where they're still not really taking it that seriously. A lot of the people are, but the government themselves aren't really taking it that seriously. We spoke about this off air on different videos. The Chinese government obviously enforced something with a crackdown that was overnight.
Swift, strong.
Yeah. But America, the UK, Australia, these countries are being...
Italy, obviously.
Yeah, Spain. These countries are being far more slow. And it's just going to be negative for everything in the country going forward.
The longer you take to take it seriously, the longer it's going to last.
Yeah. Yeah. And the longer some people take is going to affect everyone. You can have just maybe 20% of the population not taking it seriously. That affects the other 80% as well, because then they'll have to be in lockdown for longer. Because
and this is an unprecedented kind of situation, which is what is breeding a lot of this conspiracy talk. Because, a lot of people are saying, well, why should I stay home? The government's trying to control me. This is bullshit. And I get that sentiment for sure I don't want to be controlled. But there's also the other side where it's this is real. And if it's spreading this rapidly and this dangerous, I should stay at home so my elderly friends don't die.
It's basically just...
And young people die too from it.
Putting other people in front of yourself. What's convenient and good for you doesn't mean it's convenient and good for the world or the country. You
can still go out and be safe and use social distancing, and maybe if you have a job where you can still work or they're still open, it's about being careful and being coherent and aware.
Some of the valid arguments I've seen are people that are affected because they can't work. like their jobs are closed. They don't want their jobs to close because if they don't close, they don't get money. They live paycheck to paycheck, right? So if they're not getting paid, how do they survive? And that is a valid point.
And
but that's a point you should be making to your government because they're the ones that should be supporting people.
And the stimulus, $2 trillion, I think it's $2 trillion stimulus package just
like
got signed into
$1,200.
I think it's $1,200 for everybody who makes under a certain amount of money,
which is good.
Yeah, it's a start.
It's a band-aid on a bigger situation, maybe.
Right,
because then you still have rent problems. You still have mortgage problems in those situations as well.
They just stack on. Everything stacks up. But the main idea, I think, is just time. You need to not. Obviously, if you can't pay your mortgage, that's horrible. Yeah. But there will be a time when it does get better. Because I was thinking super negatively while I was here. Like, oh my God, this is never going to end. This is going to get worse and worse. And then finally there was one day where it's like, okay, it's dropping. Yeah. It's getting better.
That anxiety is a real thing that people...
And I've been without work for a long time now. My
last day was January the 15th.
Yeah, I haven't worked for over 2 months. And my school here, my company here that I work for, they've helped out a little bit with some stipend-style payments, basically enough to get by. Nothing spectacular, nothing great, but they've obviously seen that we're kind of an asset, so they don't want us all to leave. So, but it's obviously different in the West, where a lot of people are just expendable in a time of wherever the guy on top can't pay. I mean, there's no money, so it's a mess.
This really should, I think, enthuse people to take politics more seriously as well. Not just national level, I mean like local level as well. If
local's where it's at, especially
if your local states. Governments aren't helping you, they should be. And maybe it's something that, because of this situation, if you see yourself in a...
And even if you're fine, that doesn't mean there's...
Look at the community, look at other people around you, right? If you can see that there are changes that should be implemented and you can articulate them in a good way, you should. And talk to your counselors or whoever you can talk to this type of thing about. Because, you know, this is a very unusual situation. No one has ever had this kind of situation before. But it doesn't mean it won't happen again or something else like this in the future.
It's kind of a trial run for a world-ending situation.
If the apocalypse was going to happen in 15 years, what do you want to be changed to help you before the apocalypse?
Because this is bad for sure. There's tons of people dying and it spreads rapidly, but it's not exactly apocalypse level. But it's a good little test run, I think. For if
it's on track to beat most... viruses though, like it's
there's like comet, there's like a giant super volcano, and then there's viruses that's gonna wipe one of those things will wipe us out. Most likely a virus,
or robots. That's where I'm at,
if we get that far.
That's true. Or maybe they develop the virus.
Okay, now we're talking movie scripts.
Conspiracies. If you see people, I've seen lots on Facebook or whatever, just throwing out conspiracies or nonsense that they don't believe in this type of thing. You can just unfriend them. You don't have to get into a heated debate with them about it. You can if you wish.
Healthy thought is good for this time. You don't need any negative Facebook rants.
You're not going to change their mind on Facebook, but you can avoid them if you see them in public. You can not go into public, and that would also help the situation.
Right. So basically, take it seriously, be smart, all the things that you've already heard 1,000 times by now. We were a little late getting this together because obviously we were both quarantined. So.
We were locked in different places, and so we've only managed to really get together recently. Again, if you have any questions about anything related to this, we will try and answer them if we can. If not, maybe we can find some links to people that delve into it into a more detailed way, because we're not doctors. We're two English teachers in China, so we're not really qualified to talk about everything. But the main point is that, don't freak out, but take it seriously.
Mm-hmm. Keep a level head.
Yeah.
And stay inside, wash your hands, all the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And keep some optimism. Try to stay positive out there.
It will end. It will finish.
Yeah.
How many people die in the process is something that we can change. We got to flatten that curve, which is something that you asked me about.
What is that?
Flattening curve is basically your hospital systems can take a certain amount of people before it's overloaded, and you need the amount of people to be below that level.
Mm-hmm.
If it goes above that level, then doctors have to make a choice by who do they save? Do we save this person or this person? There's some countries, I think, was it Italy or Spain, actually declared anyone over the age of 65 they're just not going to treat. Because
I think that was Italy.
Because there's just so many people in the hospital, they can't spend time on everyone. So they've made a flat policy that they're just not going to deal with people over the age of 65. So that's flattening the curve. You don't want it to overload the system.
If you live in a highly populated area, definitely take it seriously and stay inside.
Yeah.
If you live in the countryside, also take it seriously, but you got a little more leeway. Sure, you don't have somebody sitting right on top of you.
I mean,
in
it's
an
called
apartment.
social distancing. So if you don't have anyone near you for like 6 miles, you're fine, right? You're distant enough.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not serious. It's still a thing for other people. You don't need to discredit other people's experiences because you don't live near people. That's silly. But if you live in New York City, yeah, of course, wash your hands and lock your doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully by the time this gets out, which is maybe a day or two, things will start looking up, but probably not. So
because I'm not going to say what date it is now, this is going to be out in 2 hours and you're not going to know any different.
Right. Sounds good. Any other things you want to delve into about that? About COVID?
Do you have any questions you want to ask me about it? Do you know everything?
How are things in the UK?
UK is not good. I mean, our quarantine is going and we're less populous than America and some other places. Death rates are pretty low. I think we're in the top 10, but we're pretty low. We're not... Our population density isn't very high.
And you're kind of quarantined as a country.
Yeah, like the country... Well, I mean, we're an island.
That's what I mean. But
yeah.
Obviously, the flights are still going, or no?
And maybe the whole Brexit thing might have helped us because it stopped people going there so often anyway. So we may have...
just in time.
Yeah. We're being an island, we already control the borders quite strictly, so we're not getting a lot of people come in, but there are infection rates and cases going up. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, has recently come out with a positive test for the coronavirus, so he also has it.
Which I'm sure shook a lot of Britons.
Possibly.
Britons.
I mean, it's something that people in, like you said, in cities need to take more seriously than other people. My hometown has cases, but no serious cases. In fact, actually, my hometown I think has 0 cases. A city near me, has more cases. So people in my hometown don't necessarily need to worry. However, if you're in London, of course, take it more seriously than others. It's going to be okay. Just keep calm and carry on. Think wartime. That's what you need to do. Think wartime.
Mm-hmm.
Just need to carry on for the country.
But the threat is not robots or a comet. It's something you can't see. Scary.
I mean, those robots could be invisible. But that's a topic for another time.
All right. So the UK is on the decline as far as dealing with it.
The UK is in quarantine right now. I think it's been about 6 days, 7 days. I don't know when this will go out.
The US has surpassed China as far as total number of cases.
Yes, I think the US is second to Italy, I think. I think Italy is number 1.
We may have passed Italy.
Well, cases maybe you've passed, but deaths, Italy is still leading. China's like 3rd or 4th, I think, now. I'm a little bit suspect that they're reporting no more new cases in China because...
It's hard to tell with
don't
whatever
that.
comes out of the state its mouth, but
and they may be manipulating
but
stats
as far
because
as
of Hong Kong and Taiwan as well. I'm not sure.
But there's a little believability as far as like they already tried to lie about it. So if they were to fudge it again, that'd be a bigger
and
black
the fact
eye.
that WHO, the World Health Organization, is in China right now, paying attention to it.
Right.
So it's not something that they can easily lie about.
Some other eyes on the issue.
And we've been locked down since early Feb.
Mm-hmm.
It's now almost April, so like it's a long time that they've been closed. So it makes sense that it has died out, or at least come to a somewhat halt here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't completely believe it though.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said before, I hope there's not a resurgence or a round two, a second wave. But just like everybody else in the world right now, nobody knows what's going to happen. So we're not going to pretend like we do, even though we just did for 20 minutes.
So that's it, really. That's it. Just, keep calm, carry on. Don't do anything too drastic. Don't take it too seriously, but don't take it not seriously enough. Don't listen to everyone. Listen to us, but don't listen to us.
Stay away from Facebook.
Stay away from Facebook, but, go online because you're going to need to.
Spend time with your family. And if you don't have a family, oof, you must really be hurting. But I went through it. You can get through it, too.
If Spencer can, anyone can.
Red Dead Redemption and Jameson. That's the cure.
That's the cure.
Alcohol is a cure for it, right? Or is that misinformation?
That's misinformation.
Not a cure. I mean, a deterrent?
No.
Okay.
Not true. And some people say cigarettes were as well, but no, that's also
bullshit. Okay.
It's all bullshit. Sorry.
Well, I thought I was doing, right by drinking every day, but guess not.
Well, you're doing something right, but it wasn't that.
True. Wash your hands.
Bye.
Bye.